everybody. Welcome to another live stream. We're starting off the week with a Monday stream. And you know what the first stream of the week means? It means I'm going to gift 5 memberships myself because you guys are always so generous. I want to try and to meet you with my own generosity. And so I always gift 5 memberships at the beginning of every week. So here they come. Woohoo! And if you get one, YouTube selects who they go to. You get one for an entire month, and you'll be able to join into all the live streams. So it's so nice to see everyone. Oh, you guys are so sweet. Thank you so much. I think the lighting's just better today, thankfully. I do not have a new camera just yet. I have some, it's I can write it off as a tax write-off, but it's so expensive. Just a lot of expenses. All right. My 10-year computer still works. It's just, it renders very slow. But it's really, really nice to see everybody. Oh, you like the blue shirt? Thank you. I wasn't sure about this. I thought it might look a little drab. You guys are making me feel real nice. Thanks for gifting a membership, Danny. So it's so nice to see everybody. Pastor Madeline, so great to see you as always. And we have some really good stories to discuss today. Good luck on your license, your exam tomorrow, Brad. Oh, hey, thank you, John. Thank you for gifting a membership. Josh, thank you for gifting a membership. I really appreciate it. Vicente, Sarah Snook is Veronica Kale. That's not a bad idea. I kind of like that, actually. Look, Sadie, so generous, Sadie. Thank you for gifting 5 memberships. I really appreciate it. As I always say, this is the best way to support this channel because it means that, not only are you helping me, but you're allowing others to join in the live streams. Well, anyone can watch, and to those of you who can't become a member right now or haven't been gifted a membership, no worries. I'm just so glad that you're here anyway, or if you're watching this stream after the fact. Hey, Jacob, thanks for joining. All right, so as a writer boy, thank you for gifting a membership. So as always, the way look at Bob F. Here come the memberships. I love it. Thank you, Bob. Hey, CJ, see you later. So as always, the way the live streams work is that please try to keep your questions and comments to the topic at hand. And I might not answer you. I might not be able to get to your comment, even if it's a super chat, if you put it during the actual story. I will open up each story to questions and comments at the end. And then, of course, at the end of every stream, there's 10 minutes of Ask Me Anything, where you can ask me anything. I don't necessarily answer you, but that's your best shot to get those questions answered. You guys are all so nice. Hey, Dory, thank you for gifting a membership. I always like seeing all of you. And again, thanks, Candy Corn Defender. As always, if you can match your avatar here on YouTube to Twitter, it allows me to get to know you even better. Hey, Jody, thanks for gifting a membership. And so I love seeing familiar faces, and I love seeing new faces too, like Jody. Jody, I don't believe you've gifted before. And Mr. Underdog, that's pretty new. That's awesome. You guys are great. All right, so let's get started. We've got a couple of stories from the end of last week and also an update on the actors' strike, which I thought might maybe end this morning, but it did not. And so I have a couple of theories about what might happen. Also, I've been talking about Nia DaCosta online on the Twitters, and I would like to thank everybody who realizes the type of coverage that I do. I'm not a fan account. I cover the news and the way things actually are. And I would love to see them change, but some good advice that was given to me in life and that I think would benefit everybody is to remember the world that you're actually operating in. And that while things might change, and there are some people who are really phenomenal, who dedicate their life to bringing that change about, which is why society celebrates them. However, if you're not going to do that for a living, if that's not going to be your calling, you need to operate in the world that you actually live in. I'm not saying you have to take anything negative, but you have to understand that it's going to be difficult to operate differently. I mean, I experienced that myself. I don't toe the line. And I got to deal with the crap that comes along with that sometimes. And that's just unfortunately the way it is. Sadie, congratulations for losing 60 pounds. I'm so happy for you. That's really wonderful. Good for you. I'm on my own journey of health, and I'm so happy to see other people doing that. Franco, thank you for gifting memberships. Not Modern Paint, thank you for gifting memberships. I really appreciate that. And by the way, I want to make it clear, I'm by no means, I'll tell you the story, actually. I'll just do it, okay? I'm by no means condoning sometimes the negative behavior that's out there. But once I was doing a video, and I was giving somebody else advice. And, hey, Alex, thank you for gifting the memberships. That's so nice of you. And thank you, Pastor Madeline. I was giving somebody advice in a video I was making, and it was somebody who was trying to change movies. It was a while back, early days in my career. And you might recall that early on, I used to have really crazy hair and wear silly t-shirts, right? And a friend of mine was like, that's not really a professional look, Grace. And I was like, I'm going to do what I want to do, and I don't want to hear about it. This is me. I got to be me. And that's what I said to my friend. And I then later, a little bit shortly after that, I was giving advice to someone, and I said, you can't change stuff from the outside. You can only really change the system from the inside. And I was like, wait a minute. If I'm going to give that advice to someone else, I should follow it myself. So I try to be I try to be a little bit more professional in how I present myself, even though I still am pretty wild in the way I conduct myself. So I feel like that's kind of the situation. Like, you might be like, why can't I do what I want and look like what I want and get the same treatment as everybody else? And, maybe someday you could, but you have to realize that other people are going to pass you up in the meantime. And, life is full of compromise and deciding what, if you're playing the short game or the long game. It's really hard, and you have to live with those decisions. And so I kudos to anybody who's out there fighting the good fight. But I think that, how I feel about Nia DaCosta is that Nia DaCosta did what she had to do. And she clearly felt that this other movie that she had to work on was important for her career. And I get that. And I think it's a shame she needs to conduct herself in a defensive manner, or would need to. And she is. She's already said that she didn't fully direct this movie, which I would have advised her against doing before the movie actually came out, because I think it signals Marvel that you're already distancing yourself from the project. And maybe that never would have been in the Variety article if she hadn't first said that. But I think that it would have, and you never know how things are going to play out. The Marvels it looks like it's going to be a disaster. So she might not be able to recover from that, or maybe because she threw she fully threw herself into this other project, and it will be too far away to maybe not do, right? Maybe it'll save her. Maybe that movie will come out and everyone will go, oh my gosh, this is brilliant. What a shame that Marvel didn't recognize her creative voice. So, I think in that regard, Nia DaCosta decided to play the long game. And so she better hope that other movie does come out and that other movie is really good. Because, I think she's looking like she's going to be 0 for 2, because I thought, the visuals were great on Candyman. Candyman never really came together, which is unfortunate. So we'll just see what happens. We'll see what happens. But unfortunately, I think clearly the blame game has already started, and a lot of people are unfortunately going to try and, I think my guess is they're going to pin it on her and Brie Larson, which is really horrible. It's really rough out there. And I think that you can't be a woman who's out there and not realize that you're in a situation that's going to be more combative to you. I mean, I'm in the Scoop entertainment news reporting situation, and I'm having just as tough a time. I'm not saying that I'm getting better treatment. I mean, look at the way people come after me. It's absolutely ridiculous. And certainly, I'm treated very different than my male counterparts. And I could spend all my time complaining about it, but I don't think that would benefit I don't think that would be beneficial. But I just wanted to point that out because it's really hard to have these conversations, nuanced conversations on social media. Also, there are accounts that make their whole life off of supporting films and talent. And they're extremely aggressive. The same groups that continue to support the Snyder Cut, even though you're like, the sun has set on that. And that's just also part of the space that I understand that I'm in. So I can't get angry about it. But, when someone names their account after the Marvels, you're not going to expect a realistic or balanced take to come from that account. Is it going to be super mean? Probably. Because that account, that's their whole, especially now that people can make money off of Twitter, they're just going to be ridiculously aggressive. And that's just, you can't take that personally. That person's just out there being a mover and a shaker, trying to make a dime off of Twitter, whatever, man. I think they chose a weird thing. That's right. I'm very pragmatic, Gerard. Thank you for saying that. I mean, I don't know how much money they could be generating off of the Marvels, quite frankly. But good luck to them. Okay. All right, let's get on to the next stories. Yeah, Tyler, I would say that Twitter definitely has, I also, for a long time, many of you have been like, I don't know if things that trend necessarily means anything, Grace. And I have to say, recently I'm starting to see that might be the case. I think that Twitter has been affected enough that it might not actually be as indicative of success as it once was, which is frustrating because now we have no way to tell. Also, I think that's right, Mika, I think X has become so extremist that I think nobody takes anything that's said on there seriously anymore because it just seems like everybody's nuts on the app. But I'm never leaving. I'm never leaving X, largely because I said that, I've enjoyed being on there. It's still the biggest platform. And also, I very publicly said no one should be chased off of Twitter, especially women. And I believe that, and I must live my life accordingly. So I'm staying on that thing all the way down. I'm riding that Titanic ship all the way down to the bottom. I don't care. Whatever, man. Whatever. I don't care. Whatever. All right. I still call it Twitter too, Elliot. I'm not calling it X. That's ridiculous. All right, so let's get on to the 3 stories of the day. Thank you all for listening to that extra bonus story at the front. Again, really, thank you to those of you who understand what I do. It really helps a lot and helps me stay sane. Okay, thanks, Rabbi. That's really nice of you. All right, let's write Marduk. Let's boop it up. Apparently now you can't say anything negative about Marvel. Boop. I was shocked to see the same narrative take hold over in the Marvel fandom as has been so long with DC, where the press is out to get them and the reporters are evil and that there are bots that are doing stuff. And I'm just like, how the heck did this get over to Marvel? Kevin Feige's probably like, get this out of my area. I don't want it. I don't want it. But yet here it is. I was just surprised to see the Marvel fandom take that turn, especially because I didn't think there was anything that was wrong in the Marvel Variety article. I mean, and especially a lot of it wasn't even that new, quite frankly. Thanks, Dory. That's very kind of you to say. So do I think that it was an aggressive article from Variety? Definitely. But I don't think it was like a hit. And do I think that some of it probably came from Marvel itself? Yeah, I do. But I don't think it was like the hit pieces that we saw for DC. And even all of that, and again, can you really fault people for position? I mean, people are talking about their careers and stuff. Oh, Alex, that's so generous of you. Of course they're going to fight and really try and use every angle that they have. I mean, I think you just need to understand that. Hey, Travis. I mean, come on. If you were a studio executive, you'd be doing the exact same thing. All right. So let's get started. All right. So Marvel Spotlight. So Marvel Spotlight, it was announced. So the reason that this came out is that it was Chalotra Day on Friday. Remember, I was like, why are they releasing a trailer for Echo on Friday, right? How weird. Why wouldn't it, it's so close to Loki and the Marvels. It's just nuts. But apparently it's because I think it actually ended up benefiting them because people reacted, actually, to my surprise, very favorably to the trailer. But it was Choctaw Day, and they actually aired the first 2 episodes at the Choctaw Casino and Resorts in Oklahoma. And I'm surprised that nothing leaked from the first 2 episodes, which kind of tells you there isn't anything big in the first 2 episodes of Echo. Because it would have leaked. I would have heard about it. Some reporter would have been in attendance. And also, they felt they could show the first 2 episodes of Echo this far out. Just keep that in mind for when you watch them. Maybe we'll be surprised. Maybe there is something there. But I think for sure I would have heard about it. I don't think that's weird. But anyway, when they played the 2 episodes, this new banner was in front of it called Marvel Spotlight. And they're like, this was based on a comic book from the 1970s. And you're like, you mean like What If? Which also nobody cared about? That's the thing. Like, What If? Special presentations, which, of course, were the Werewolf by Night and Guardians of the Galaxy Holiday Special. These things didn't hit. So I don't know why they're like, oh man, let's do more new banners. I loved What If too, guys. I thought What If was fantastic. But I got to tell you, it's not mean. I'm being honest. I'm sorry. I'll always be honest with you. That's what you can always feel good about coming to this channel for. I will always be honest with you. And that's how you know you're getting the real story. Okay? Like, I'm not going to tell you what I think you want to hear or what I want to say. I'm going to tell you what's actually happening. And I'm telling you that while I really liked What If, and some other people did as well, as I can see with you, it did not do particularly well. Nobody really paid attention to it, and I honestly don't feel they would even be doing season 2 if they didn't already have started it and had to push some of the other episodes from season 1. So that's the thing. So some of you wrote to me about Marvel Spotlight, and one of the funniest comments I got was that, well, the problem that Marvel has been having is that people have felt they could skip some of the content. Now, somebody pointed out to me, Marvel Spotlight makes it official. As soon as you see this logo, you know you don't have to watch it, which is unfortunate. I think that the whole reason that Marvel did so well, as I've said many times, hey Nicholas, is that it's because you felt you had to watch everything. And it was a really good story that everybody was enjoying, and nobody was willing to miss any part of it. And as they've proliferated, now people feel they can miss stuff. And now they've, again, as someone pointed out to me, made it official that you can skip this. But here's what else is weird to me. How is Echo, which the whole reason anyone's interested in Echo, I did a poll. I forgot to add it. Hold on, let me add this image. Because I knew some of you might not believe me. So I'm putting in the poll. I'm putting in the facts, the cold hard facts. It's not a scientific poll, but it's 11,000 people who voted on Twitter or X when I asked this question. Hold on. Here it is. And I said, what are you the most excited about Echo for? 11,000, a little over 11,000 people voted. And you can see that only 11% are excited about Echo herself, whereas 24% are excited about Daredevil and Kingpin, and then 31% are excited about the mature rating, because I think it's going to be something different. It reminds them more of the Marvel Netflix show. Although let's not forget that the Marvel Netflix shows went away because they weren't doing particularly well in the ratings. So take that for what you will. And 34% said they were not excited. And even though that category might win the poll overall, that still means that 66% are excited. So that, I think, is encouraging. All right, so, but as you can see, a big reason that people are excited about this is because of Daredevil and Kingpin. So if this is not connected to the MCU, does that mean this isn't connected to the Daredevil series? Like, I would rather this be a Marvel Knights banner, which meant like, oh, okay, you only need to definitely watch this section, right? Like, put this and the new Daredevil show under the same banner, and whatever else they might expand. Maybe, yeah, you're right, Josh. Maybe Hawkeye could go under here, right? Maybe if they had a Black Widow show someday, and you could put it in that area. That's what I would think. Yeah, that's right, Paul. The Marvel street level content. That, to me, I would have been excited about. But to me, and also, I think the logo isn't particularly exciting. I don't know. It just seems like, it seems like nobody's going to be in that waiting room. You're like, I don't want to be in this corner of the event. It feels like there's nobody here. So I don't love it. I don't love it. I don't love it. So that's the poll. And also it reminds me of like what James Gunn is trying to do with DC Elseworlds, where he's going to have a different section where I think that makes sense for Joker because it's such a dramatically different take on the character. But it's also confusing when they're like, oh, the Batman's in here too. And you're like, wait a minute, how is the Batman in there? That seems perfectly fine. And that could be your main continuity. So I'm not even sure how that's going to work for DC. I mean, really, I think that the mature rating is, as you can see, obviously something that people are very excited about. And maybe they could have even done a banner for that. Maybe they could have done like an adult Marvel banner. I would have been more excited about that. I think if you want to compartmentalize the MCU, that's fine. But to make it seem like part of the MCU isn't necessary is weird to me. But I would have preferred it that there is also something like a multiverse banner where these stories were going to be cheaper because they were allowing the talent to take more of an experimental approach. And then you'd be like a little bit like What If, but even more so. And then you'd be like, okay, this is small, it's inexpensive, but this is where we have some real fun. And then I would feel better about that. So I like all the different, I'm not against a different banner for Marvel, but I feel like this was just like the worst choice they could have made. And again, Kevin Feige, I think, has become really lazy in that he relies on like throwing an anchor into comics history. And he's like, a couple of comics came out in the 70s called Marvel Spotlight. And I think almost anyone reading comics today, like I never heard of Marvel Spotlight beforehand. It's not like DC Elseworlds, where I'm like, yeah, like that's awesome. I'm familiar with that. Like here, I'm like, what the heck is this? It seems new to me. Like it doesn't have any nostalgia for me at all. All right, we'll do a poll here about Spotlight. How do you feel about Spotlight? Start a poll. How do you feel about the Marvel Spotlight banner? Okay, first one is love it, so excited. The next one is I'm unsure. Oh, no, wait. If Echo is good. Oh, no, wait. I'm trying to think of the category. So love it, so excited. Next is do not like it. Do not like it. Then the next will be don't care. And then the fourth will be I'm okay. Different banners, fine. Not this one. Can I spell? Oh, okay, I had to do a 1. Okay, there you go. Right on the fly there. Oh yeah, Mish, I'm familiar with Strange Tales. And I knew what If was. When Marvel What If came out, you know, the animated series, I was like, oh yeah, I know what that is. That's right, Frankenstein RC, finally a poll. Oh, and by the way, if you're not a member and you're watching, you can vote in polls. While only members can comment, anyone can vote in a poll. So you just have to go into the chat there and click on the poll and cast your vote. Right, Juan? It should have been Marvel Knights. It's so easy. Conversation over. Why? It's like so obvious. Some people really liked this Echo poster. I was so surprised. I hate that poster. Let's see here. But then I don't like emotions and feelings. Cold, hard logic. No, I like some feelings, but that one I'm not feeling that. It's very, I don't like that kind. I don't like touchy-feely stuff. Nicholas says it is sad. Oh, while we're waiting for people to vote, please go ahead and you can ask me any questions about this. Nicholas says it is sad when CW Marvel shows had more appealing shows in their universe, even with mediocre CG. Oh, I don't know about that, Nicholas. I never liked the CW shows, but, you know, the fandom was strong. Mystic, that's true. Emotion is the core of movie magic, and many a movie has made me cry. But, you know, I'm still not a big fan of it. Hey, Carm. That's right, Whelm. That's why Batman is my favorite. And I always feel Batman gets a bad break when people are mean to him. I don't think Batman would do well on social media sometimes either. Everyone's like, why did you create contingency plans to take down the Justice League? And I'm like, why wouldn't he? That seems like you should be glad someone did. Oh, that's right, Mish. That's why I guess I'm not a fan of Pixar, because I think they're overly emotional. That's very smart. Lord Baratheon says, would it really surprise you if Echo turns out good? I think it would surprise me if it was a huge hit. Right now, I'm recalibrating, and then I think it's going to be a moderate hit. Like, I thought it was going to be a flop. But now that I've seen the reaction to the trailer, my new feeling is that while the audience will still only be moderate, I think it's going to be the new Andor. So I think there are going to be some people who just love it for, like, they just think it's good. Then I think there are going to be some people who champion it and are really frustrating to deal with and not at all realistic. And I think that both groups will be still small but loud. And I have to tell you, I loved the middle of Andor. The middle of Andor was brilliant, but I think you cannot realistically say that it didn't have any issues. Paul says, how do you feel about the binge model for this show? Is it an experiment or because they know it might not be a great show? I think that they realized, like, they showed the first 2 episodes and nothing leaked. So I think they're like, man, this show can't sustain week-to-week viewership. But if we drop it all in a day and people watch a 5-hour or maybe, we don't know how long the episodes are. It could be really like a 3.5 hour to 4 hour movie. People might go crazy for it. I think it's not a bad idea, and it certainly has excited people. I think that no matter how I felt about it before the trailer came out, when the trailer came out, I was like, this was handled well. It trended all day, and people were very excited about the TV mature rating. They were very excited about the binge drop, and they were very excited about Daredevil Kingpin, which is kind of sad. And I have to tell you that from a business standpoint, while I'm all for Echo being a cool character, although I hope she gets that handprint on her face. I'm like, where's the handprint? Although there was a costume that did leak from the event that she's going to get a full-on Native American style costume, which let's see how it looks when she's wearing it. But I don't understand why she couldn't be just a character on the Daredevil 18-episode show. Like, I would prefer a Daredevil show that runs for 18 episodes that is chock full of characters from his universe. That, to me, seems like a much more engaging approach. Ethan says, what happens to Echo? What needs to happen in Echo for it to be a success? I feel the audience will be small, but if we have some good Daredevil Kingpin action, it might be okay. Thank you, Riley. I'm glad you agree with me. I would say that for Echo to be successful, what needs to happen is that it needs to have a strong Rotten Tomatoes score. I mean, if it gets a bad audience score, it can just be accused of haters dogpiling on it. So Marvel doesn't have to worry about that. But it needs to have a strong RT score from critics. So it needs that. It needs to at least be in the 80s. I think anything, even if it's like in the 70s, I think that's going to be weak. And then it needs to do okay in the ratings. Like, doesn't have to be amazing, but as long as it's just not on the bottom of the Nielsen charts, especially because it's a binge. So that's what they need. And it needs to get people excited about, oh, Jerry, so generous. It needs to get people excited about the Daredevil show. And I have to say, while I didn't like Kingpin, some of you thought my complaints about his suit were petty. But man, that was the cheapest, most ugliest suit ever. I mean, it just looked like a Halloween costume. It had absolutely no tailoring whatsoever. I mean, I couldn't believe he would be caught outside in that. I hated that suit so much. It just looks like he's got a tent with some creases in it. But anyway, the Daredevil shot, as I tweeted, was the coolest live-action Daredevil shot I've ever seen. And it looked like it was ripped from the comics. So if they can have a couple of shots like that, and they can maybe kind of erase the She-Hulk version of Daredevil, I mean, that might be worth it right there. Revolutionary Dragon says, to be fair, I've only seen half the MCU movies going into Endgame. What? You're not a typical fan, though, Revolutionary Dragon. But I'm glad that worked out for you. Hey, Mark. Lord Baratheon, I didn't see Echo trending, but I did see Kingpin trend. All right, let me look at the poll. Oh, almost 2,000 votes. Oh, that's great. And then we'll move on to the next story. 63% of you don't care. I love it. That's fantastic. Okay, so 63% of you don't care. 15% of you love it. And only about 21% of you have a problem with it. So that's great. That's great. That's awesome. Kevin Feige's like laughing all the way to the bank. I have to say, the Marvel fandom continues to be very engaged. I mean, let's see what you can do with the Marvel's box office. I'm very curious. Harry Smith says, doesn't this mess with You miss 2 Marvel movies per year and Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. Oh, doesn't this mess make you miss 2 Marvel movies per year and Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.? No, I'm sorry. Nothing will make me miss Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. That was like a CW type show. I have a problem with that. I do think there is too much, though. Hey, Vituli. Nice gold badge. Looks good on you. All right, let's get to the next story. Okay. Story number 2. Boop. James Gunn. It looks like he might have found his Circe. I can't 100% confirm this. I don't even feel like I've 90% confirmed it, but my source couldn't debunk it. I have a particularly good source on this, and when this story, like when this scoop came out like late last week, I asked and I said, could you look into this? And my source, this source in particular, who I feel particularly good about, was like, can't debunk it, so it might indeed be true. So we're going to talk about it because it's slow. All right, so it looks like this might be Circe. This is Anya Chalotra. For those of you not familiar, she stars as Yennefer on The Witcher, opposite Henry Cavill. All right, so here, who is Circe? Let me fill you in on a little bit of stuff. I got pictures. All right, so here's Circe. Let me give you a big picture. You can see it a little bit better. I'll be back. I'll do it from this side. I'll be back. All right, so here she is. And she is, let me see. Do I have like a thing to show you? Do I have the Will? I have the Whirlwind star. I'll just use that, okay? We'll stay positive. So here are different versions of her. Here she is in the comics on the top, okay? Here she is. This is like one of the original, like I think George Perez illustrations here, which is very Greek mythology. If you ever read the Odyssey, she turned Odysseus and all of his men into pigs, which you might have seen on the animated series down here, where she turned the Justice League into pigs. Here she is with purple hair, kind of drawn off of some of these earlier versions. Then more lately, they've done this red-haired look, which I'm not a fan of. And then I actually love this. Greg Rucka did a more modern approach to the character here, which is the best Circe story I've ever read, to be honest with you, or quite frankly. I thought that was great. So we'll see what she ends up looking like. I suspect that James Gunn likes to go old school, so she's going to have the purple hair and the green outfit, if I had to guess. But my favorite one is this one. I thought that was just great. All right, so hold on. Let me make this a little smaller so you can see me again. Hold on. All right, so Circe is a sorceress. And again, as I told you, she's actually a character from Greek mythology, and she's from the Homer's Odyssey. So she's a pretty cool character. You know, I got to tell you, Wonder Woman doesn't have the greatest villains. Greg Rucka, in his latest run, did the best job reinventing them. And I'm very upset that they don't seem to be taking off of that. But maybe James Gunn is a fan, and he will, and I'll feel better. But yes, the character of Yennefer from The Witcher is almost identical to Circe, which is what gives me a little bit of an issue with this, quite frankly. I don't like the casting for that reason. All right, so anyway, the reason that this was brought up and the reason it got out is that it seems she's voicing an animated version of the character in the Creature Commandos show, which is going to be coming out relatively soon. It will actually be the first thing from the Gunverse. I don't know why that's the case. I wouldn't have done that, but it's what's coming out first. I mean, it just looks like DC Guardians of the Galaxy yet again. But James Gunn has said that anyone who does a voice on Creature Commandos will be playing that character in live action. Now, he changes his mind an awful lot, and he will backtrack for sure. And you know what? That's his prerogative. And he really is the only one who makes it a problem by being so definitive in the first place. Like, why did he have to say that whoever voices the characters in the animation will be doing them in live action? Just leave it open-ended so that he wouldn't back himself into a corner. But he did. So that's why when everybody found out that Anya Chalotra is going to be voicing Circe on the animated series, they reasonably assumed that she would make the jump to live action. So I think the casting is quite good. I love Anya Chalotra on The Witcher. I mean, I stopped watching The Witcher, but when I was watching it, she was my favorite character. I think she's phenomenal on the show. And I think it's great to go with an actress of color to, kind of to highlight more the Mediterranean aspects of Wonder Woman. Although Anya Chalotra is of Indian descent. She's half English, half Indian. But, they could maybe kind of retcon Circe a little. I mean, I don't know. She's a Greek sorceress. She comes straight from Homer's Odyssey. I don't really know how much you can play with that, to be honest. But maybe they can try. Because I think today people are going to be like, she can't play a Greek character because she's not Greek. I'm not sure how people feel and how particular they're going to be. And the honest truth is you never know for sure until it actually happens. So you just have to roll the dice. I think the actress is extremely likable. I think she's very talented. But I also think that she comes from a Netflix show. And I think she basically is already playing the character. So to me, this seems small. This seems like more like casting for Peacemaker, not for a big DC movie. And that's my issue with it. I think it's just too small. I think it's not thinking big enough. I don't think it makes it exciting enough. I think that while it might make me go and see the movie or the show, I don't know how it's going to get somebody who's like a casual fan, who's superheroed out, to be like excited. I would have preferred casting either a bigger name, although that doesn't always work out, someone totally new, or someone who's never played a similar role. Like, Jamie Campbell Bower really going out of the box on Stranger Things. That was exciting to me. So if this were the early days of DC, I would think this casting would be fine, and DC was just getting started. But now that there's so many superhero shows and Marvel itself has really diluted the marketplace, I just feel this isn't strong enough. So again, I'm excited about it. I'm sure I'll like it and like her in the role, but I just don't feel it feels like a big enough choice for like a movie down the line. Maybe she's going to be on the Max series, the Paradise Lost series. But I'm going to be upset if that ends up being also very TV-like. This should feel like a movie. I don't know they're making a lot of weird choices over there. They're making a lot of weird choices at DC, like the upcoming Penguin show, which has, at least out of the gate, like absolutely nothing to do with, we'll be able to talk about it soon, but it's weird. I mean, not to say these things won't be good, but I mean, there's something to be said for branding and packaging. I mean, especially when you're operating a franchise at this level. Again, it's the business side coming in. I think that James Gunn is very focused on pleasing the DC fan like himself, but that's not the name of the game. The name of the game is to make people who aren't usually interested in DC interested in DC, because you're in a very competitive marketplace. All right, so does anybody have any questions or comments? Oh, Talia Al Ghul. Oh, Klaus, you fixed it. She should have been Talia. She's even regionally correct for that. Hey, Matthew Mead. Thanks for gifting a membership. Klaus, that's it. That's who she should have been. Thanks, Billy. I'm glad you agree. Zatanna is also not a bad choice. Maybe Zatanna, but I really like her for Talia. I mean, she's a perfect Talia Al Ghul. So now I'm annoyed. Now I'm like, why does this always happen? She's so close to being perfectly cast, but now she's not. She would have been a great Miss Marvel, by the way. I mean, she's a little older for the role, but she would have been a great Miss Marvel. But I mean, I'm excited. I like the actress quite a bit. I would love for Anya Chalotra. I mean, it would be great if she leveled up instead of pulling the project down to her level. It would have been great. It would be great if she levels up. All right, so any other comments about this? That's true, Mystic. Ms. Marvel is Pakistani. Ethan, she would have been a great Talia for Matt Reeves' The Batman universe. She certainly would fit with Robert Pattinson. Raphael thinks she'd make a good Wonder Woman herself. She certainly has the hair for it. Fantastic hair. Galliot Productions, I don't think the Brave and the Bold writer has been confirmed yet. That's still a scoop. Oh, Mystic. She'd also be a good Raven. She's better than anybody than Circe. That's annoying. Or Morgan Le Fay. I'd be more excited, although still in the witch category. Although same with Raven. But the whole thing's, it's so ridiculous. I don't know. Okay, so it's very frustrating. Very frustrating. Let's do a poll if you think she'd be a good Circe. Do you think Anya Chalotra would be a good Circe? I have to get off at 2:30, so we're running behind, so I got to hurry up. Yes. No. And then I like her, but not for Circe. And then we'll just, for fun, Talia. Talia Al Ghul. I think, there you go. That's the correct spelling. Wouldn't she be great as Damien's mother? I hope they do the right casting for Talia Al Ghul. And I really want Damien to be, at least the actor, to be part Middle Eastern. That's like so important for that character. I'm going to be really upset if it's not the case. So we'll just give you a moment to vote on this. It's coming in fast. Again, if you're not a member, you can still vote in the polls, even though you can't comment. Anyone can vote in a poll. All right, I'll just give it another moment. Then we'll go to a quick SAG update, and then I want to answer your questions for 10 minutes. Okay, here I'm ending it. This is your chance. This is your chance. Okay, I'm out. I ended the poll. Okay, hold on. Here it comes. 37% think she'd be a great Circe. That's great. 31% think she should be Talia. 22% like her, but not for Circe. And then 9% just aren't into her. That's pretty good. That's pretty good. But I worry that only 37% will show up to the movie. That's what I feel like James Gunn has he thinks small. He thinks for just comic book fans, not the general public. And that's what concerns me. All right. Story number 3. Quick update on the actors strike. And then we will get to Ask Me Anything. All right, so over the weekend, the studios, you can see the main people who've been handling the negotiations for the studios down below there, their picture. Although apparently more studio heads joined in over the weekend because they want to get this done. Oh yeah, boom, baby. And they offered their best, last, and final offer. But remember, they used that lingo before with the writers, and the writers still came back and said, we're not there. And so I think that because of that, the actors are going to do the same thing. I think they will come back one more time. And a couple of industry reporters at the trades are saying that, oh, thanks, Dante. A couple of reporters from the trades are saying that SAG really doesn't want to accept this last offer. So I think that they're probably going to have at least one more volley. So the strike at the earliest will end mid to late week. But I have to tell you, I think that they're going to be very upset. The studios really already said they would be very angry if the actors did not accept this offer. Now, of course, we want the actors to be treated fairly. But I think it's important to realize that the SAG-AFTRA is the biggest of the guilds, and it is a more expensive ask. So it's more than the directors or the writers. And also, because these guilds are all connected in their contracts, every guild starts out with the last contract that was negotiated. So everything that the actors are fighting for now is on top of what the writers already negotiated. So I think that we'll see what happens. But one thing that does concern me that it's so difficult to wrap up the AI conversation, as Mark just mentioned. The fact that this isn't really easy to do, because I think that it should be very clear what's okay with AI and what isn't, concerns me. And I wonder which side is being unreasonable. Because I think the AI protection is crucial. And so I'm wondering what's holding it up, especially because the studios claim that they met them fully on the AI. But I guess, maybe the Actors Guild, now that they see it, feels that it doesn't look right. But I would also caution the Actors Guild to read the room. And that I think that they're very quickly losing the general public. I mean, they've already lost everybody else who works in Hollywood. I've been talking to a lot of people behind the scenes. They're very upset. This has decimated people financially. And I think that if it goes on much longer, the actors are going to find themselves really not looked at well. I think if it wraps up this week, it'll be okay. But if it goes beyond this week, Even it'll be a very tough week. I mean, I don't know what the points are, so I don't know whose side I would be on. I don't know what the negotiating points are, so it's hard to really weigh in on it. But I think it's time for the strike to end. I think everybody feels that way, and I think that it just needs to get done. I don't know when they don't have a meeting set yet. I think they're still discussing the contract today. They're still discussing the best, last, and final offer today. They took all day yesterday to discuss it. They got it on Saturday. And they said they took all day yesterday, and they said they wanted today as well. So they might go back later this evening, or they'll go back tomorrow. But I think they are going to go back and say they are not happy because best, last, and final was not that for the writers. So why would the actors, accept it? But I just want to let you know, for those of you who aren't aware, most of the industry does not like actors. And if you're thinking of being an actor, again, this is just a cold, hard truth. And it's not necessarily, it's not necessarily right. It's not necessarily wrong. But it's something that I think actors need to be aware of. Most people who work in the industry don't like actors because actors get, even though 90% of them are unemployed, the 10% that are employed make the most money, they get the most glamour, and they get almost all the credit for projects. Like when you think of a movie or a TV show that you really love, most of the time you think of the actor. And I think that really bothers a lot of the people who work on these projects because they feel their contributions are also important, but yet they're making so much less money and they're getting so much less credit and so much less attention, and they're not getting to live the Hollywood lifestyle that these actors do. And I have to tell you, actors are very important. I mean, this is just the game. Actors are very important. They're the ones who sell the project both within it and then also advertising wise. So actors are very important. But also they spend a lot of downtime because it takes so long to set up a set that actors spend almost all their time on their trailers, just waiting around. I told you when I did my Zombieland 2 cameo, I would say I filmed for maybe about 2 hours in the 12-hour day. And the rest of the time I was just sitting around. Like in the morning, I sat there for like 4 hours. It was, but that's just, again, I don't get angry about it. It's just the game. It's the way it is. And so I think people are working very hard during those 4 hours to set up the set, light it, make everything ready. And then in their opinion, the actor just swoops in full hair and makeup and then gets to take all the credit for all the work. And so the reason I bring this up is that to just outline how people are very unsympathetic to actors to begin with. So when they start holding up people getting paid, nobody's going to cry for actors. That's just the hard truth of it. Nobody really wants to cry for writers or directors either. I mean, Yahtzee has been extremely aggressive because Yahtzee definitely feels they get the short end of the stick, and often do. So that's just how it is. All right, I can only do 6 minutes of Ask Me Anything. All right, I'm sorry. But let's get started. Ask me anything. Matthew Mead says, I'm a bartender and I have a few regulars in the movie industry and they're always impressed by my knowledge and it's all been taught by you. Oh, that makes me so happy, Matthew. I'm so happy. And what a cool way to use that knowledge. Oh, that's awesome. I'm sure, because I know people like to talk to bartenders. That's awesome. Matthew, I love that so much. You made my day. Let's see here. I did see the new iMacs, Nico, but they're not the size that I want. So I'm going to have to get a screen and a computer that attaches to it, which is more expensive. So I'm kind of annoyed about it. Josh says, I'm seeing the screen-on-screen movie tonight at AMC. The rumor is it's The Marvels. I heard that rumor too. I haven't been able to confirm it, but good luck. I hope it is. I hope it's not too horrible if it's not what plays. That's easy for you to say, says, hi from England. You mentioned on Movie Math this week about seeing a Spanish language movie. I was wondering if you speak Spanish, other languages. Unfortunately, I do not. I tried very hard in high school to learn both French and Spanish. And I'm afraid that a language is just not something that's in the cards for me, to be able to speak other languages. But I certainly, whenever I watch other language projects, I always watch them in the original language with subtitles because I like to hear the original performance. Danny, I will review the Marvels on Wednesday. I'm seeing the Marvels tomorrow night, and the review embargo lifts. I can tweet about it late Tuesday, tomorrow night, and then the embargo lifts at noon on Wednesday. Alexis Martin says, have you heard anything about Spider-Man freshman year? I heard that all the Marvel animation projects were having a tough time, which is why none of them have been coming out. LP, I haven't started Blue Eye Samurai yet, but I really want to watch it. I love that clip that I saw yesterday, and I put it on my watch list on Netflix. Andrew, I'm going to see Trolls on Saturday, so I'll be reviewing it probably early next week. I have so much to review next week. I'm really glad to be getting back to doing so many reviews. I'm reviewing The Crown. I'm excited about it. I'm supposed to review Scott Pilgrim, but I was really surprised how that show played out, and I feel kind of bad about it. And so it's going to be a headache. And so I'll still review it, I think. Ixion says, thoughts on the Dune prequel series being renamed from Sisterhood to Dune Prophecy. I like the name Dune Prophecy. I got to tell you, let's see. I don't know if Dune is still a hot franchise. I'm nervous about it. I was really surprised at how poorly Dune 2 was received. Toon Dude 19 says, Grace, when does Hollywood go dark? Will there be any work if a deal is made this week? I think that I think contracts and deals will start to be made, but I don't think production will start up until January at this point because everyone's already going to be into the holidays. I'll watch says, if you watch the Bass Reeves Paramount show or Trolls. I have not watched the Bass Reeves Paramount show, but as I just said, I'm seeing Trolls on Saturday. Also, I'm doing an event next week, so I won't be able to go to the Wish press screening, which I feel pretty bad about. But I am going to go see Wish on the Saturday early fan screening. I bought a ticket to that, so my review will come out a few days late for Wish. Shahar, oh yes, I saw that. Happy birthday. You're 39, right? Happy birthday. Will you review Trolls Band Together? I will. I think the embargo has already lifted, maybe. But I'm very excited about the film. Chico says, what are your... I'm so happy that so many people are interested in Trolls. You're making me feel even better about going to see it. Chico says, what are your thoughts on Britney Spears' memoir being shopped for other studios? I'm not sure. I feel really bad that people didn't react more to the Pamela Anderson, Pam and Tommy miniseries. I thought that was really well done. But that's, of course, Pam Anderson came out against it, which is a shame because I thought Lily James did a really nice job. So maybe if Britney was supportive of this, it would be better received. So, I think something like that would maybe be a better series than a movie. So, but we'll see. Ethan says, what do you think about Superman wearing the trunks in Superman Legacy? No, I think he's got to wear the trunks. I think the suit looks weird without it. Everyone's going to be looking in a certain area anyway. It doesn't matter what color it is. Let's see here. For those of you asking, David and Fiction Fan, about my Hunger Games review, I filmed it today, actually, and the embargo lifts on Thursday. Let's see, what time on Thursday? 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Joey, I haven't seen The Killer. I'm probably going to watch it this weekend with everybody else. Danny didn't care for Trolls. Interesting. Salty Snack says, what's your most anticipated movie that's coming up? The Marvels, obviously. And I'm really excited about Napoleon. I really am looking forward to that. I'm seeing that next week as well. Whelm says, if you were an actress, what demand would you bring to the table that you believe studio... Whelmed, I can't answer that because I don't know the details of the negotiation. I don't know what each side, what's being offered and what's being asked for. Big Witch, Gen V is doing okay. It's already been renewed for season 2, so that's great. But let's see how it does in the weeks ahead on Nielsen. Out of the gate, it's soft, but it is a new show, and I think the advertising for it wasn't very good. Oh, it's 2:30, Joshua Castillo? Thank you. All right, I better get going. I'm sorry I couldn't do more. There will be a live stream. I'm shooting for a live stream tomorrow. There will probably almost definitely be one tomorrow. And then also a live stream on Wednesday to go over the Disney earnings call. There's a Disney earnings call on Wednesday at 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So the live stream on Wednesday will be right after that. And then I have a screening that I'll hopefully be able to make. Okay, everybody, bye. Bye, bye, bye. See you tomorrow. See you tomorrow, everybody. Bye.